Hello everyone, if you think you're having a bad day, my cat just peed on every single piece of jewelry I own, and half of them are mixes, so they're like this joker. Well, this one thankfully, and all these earrings were not peed on, but you know, so we've got some chains, but you've also got leather or material. Cleaning that shit up was... In all seriousness, I know of course there are worse things in the world, but it was irritating to say the least, and I am not happy I had to go through that experience. Thank you very much. Today we're going to talk about a topic, and maybe isn't something that a lot of you would be interested in, or you know, a topic that you'd even think about, but I think that it's a topic that, because it's going to be about my work at an EEG lab, however, I think you can really take what I say and put it to the medical industry, or maybe a little bit even to the food industry, to any sort of industry where you have to work with a client. So yes, so as some of you know, I work at an EEG lab. So for those of you who do not know, an EEG is this, I don't want to call it a machine, but it's a set of things. It's like a machine, it's a cap, it's everything. I mean, it's a program that helps us check brainwaves. Basically, there are different types of brainwaves. It's a very, very complicated topic. I'm not going to get into brainwaves in this video. If that's something that's interesting, I can make a separate video on brainwaves. However, that's what we use it for. And there is a cap that you have to put on your head, and depending on the type of cap you're using, is going to be a different amount of electrodes. We use a 64 electrode cap, so it's 32 pairs of electrodes basically. And you have to put them into the cap. Once again, every cap is different. In our case, you have to like stick them into the cap, put in gel, and with the needles that aren't sharp, you have to kind of get the gel in there. It's a long process. It takes around an hour, oftentimes more when two people are doing it. So I understand that it's a pain in the ass for the person that is sitting on the chair getting the EEG done. But trust us, for us to be doing the EEG, for us to be doing all those things, standing for over an hour, it's tiring and it's exhausting and it's not very pleasant either. I also want to say that the EEG we do is scientific EEG, so if you ever had an EEG at a hospital, it's going to be something rather different than what we do. First of all, the whole process is going to be shorter. Second of all, it's going to have less electrodes, you won't have needles usually, there's a lot of differences, so our cap is going to be a little bit different. So what I wanted to talk about today is that, well, we have clients, we have participants rather, who partake in the study, and you know, they have to get the EEG done. Oftentimes it's 4 times in a row in our particular experiment. And don't get me wrong, the vast majority of participants are lovely. I like to talk to them, you know, and everything. It's really great. They're really great people. I have nothing bad to say. They're very understanding that it's a pain in the ass for us as well. But from time to time, every few weeks or every few months, there's going to be that one person who just has to make your life a living hell. Now, unfortunately, as with every customer service, you might say, we are not really allowed to bitch or be rude to the participant, because we're happy that anyone's partaking in the study. Fun fact, the majority of studies take participants, just any participants who qualify. Oftentimes the participants are often paid in some way, so if you'd be interested in taking part in any study at all, you can just Google, you know, labs and studies in your area, and you know, see, because I think it's a really cool and interesting experience to go as a participant in a scientific study at least once in your life. I have, obviously, as well, but that's beside the point. And so the reason I'm making this video is to vent my frustration out a little bit due to certain people that sometimes are a nasty pain in the ass, and ask people not to behave like this, not only towards us, because we can't talk back, but not to medical personnel, any customer service. We're not really allowed to be rude back to you. Don't be rude to us. We try, we do our best. It's a hard job for us as well. You have to understand, you are sitting in a chair for an hour. You can look at your phone, you can do whatever the fuck you want while we put on the cap. We have to stand there and move our hands, and it's uncomfortable and it's unpleasant and it's not nice for us either. Okay, honey? Thank you. So the first thing, in our case at least, the electrodes, although I presume this is the case with the majority of things, the electrodes are plugged into a computer and they're very, very gentle, the endings that are plugged in. So you can't put them against any sort of metal. They can't be put against water, obviously. So we always say before we put on the cap, please go to the toilet now, because you won't be able to do so for the next 3 hours. What do some participants do? We put on the cap, I have to go to the loo. Well, I'm sorry, miss, you can't go to the loo now. Well, I want to go to the loo. Also, the last lady who did my EEG said I can go to the loo. And so, you know, there is no discussing or quarreling with someone like that, because how am I going to prove? I don't even know who did their last EEG, oftentimes, you know. And even if they did allow it, I can't really go against that. So I have to let the person go to the loo and risk them destroying a system that costs a couple of thousand, I don't know, dollars, I presume, I don't know. It costs a lot, okay? And if it goes bad, who's gonna have to pay for it? Yeah, it's not fun. Second of all, when we have the EEG, you can't move. That's a very big thing, because everything in your body kind of makes waves. But some waves are quieter, more gentle than other waves. For instance, brain waves are very, very quiet and very, very gentle. So if you move, the waves from your muscles are way louder and less gentle and tougher. So the signal you're getting, if you're moving your muscle, is the signal from the muscles and not from the brain, which obviously, I think I don't have to state this, is a problem if we're going to analyze data from brain waves, you know, the signal from the brain. So, you know, we always say, okay, we understand, you gotta swallow your spit, you gotta breathe, you know, you gotta, you know, do the thing with the eyeballs. What is it called what I'm doing now? Wink. Wait, no, wink. You need to close and open your eyelids, you get what I mean. You know, so like, we understand, we do, we're human, but don't go out of your way to move all the time. There are people who are just going to constantly doing this with their foot, you know, that people are constantly going to be moving, and the signal is shit. And oftentimes the signal afterwards is so shit that you can't fix it, and we have to throw that away. The gel, the money to spend on the gel, our time, all of that just thrown away. It's ridiculous. Don't do that, please. So like, if we ask you not to do something, if we ask you not to move, there's a reason we're asking you not to move, okay? Don't make it even harder, because you're really effing up the study, and you have no idea how much money goes into the study, and if the money's thrown away, we're not going to get any more money. We're going to have to take money from our own pockets into the study, and the vast majority of the people involved in the vast majority of the studies are students. No, not the students are going to put the money, the professor's going to put the money, but where I live, professors don't make gazillion dollars, okay? Private universities make a little bit better money, but it's still not a whole lot. Like, professors are treated like teachers. They don't make a whole lot of money. So where I live, in the country I live in, you don't want to force someone to, you know, to take the money they got for a project, throw it away, and have to put in money from their own pockets, you know. They gotta live out of something. They have children to feed, everything. So, you know, not to mention it's just a full-on waste of our time. The majority of the people doing the EEGs are students. So we have projects, we have exam sessions to learn, we have other jobs, you know. You're wasting our time. Please don't do that. And the last thing, and this is the part that's probably going to be able to be put into customer service everywhere, just don't be rude. It's that easy. Lately, I had a lady, a conversation went like this. She says, well, because we were talking a thing about like tomboys and other things, and she says, well, I believe, you know, in that when you're a teenager, you behave in a certain way and you dress a certain way and you try to be a certain way because you have a real big need to fit in. And I said, well, no, that's not true. When I was a teenager, I never felt the need to fit in, and honestly, I've never in my life felt the need to fit in, because I just want to do whatever I want to do, and I just honestly don't care. To which she replied, well, yes, but that probably stems from very deep-rooted self-esteem issues and psychological problems. First of all, lady, who the fuck are you to tell me, a lady you've met for the first time in your life who's pointing a needle at your head, that I have deep psychological issues and self-esteem issues? You're no one. You have no knowledge. Stop. Okay? No. Second of all, how the fuck does not having a need to fit in and not caring what other people think about you prove you've got self-esteem and psychological issues. At least the self-esteem part shouldn't mean you have very high self-esteem because you don't care what others do. You like yourself the way you are. I am an extremely conceited person. I've never tried to hide that. I'm very honest about it, and if someone doesn't like it, I don't care. Because I don't care, and that's the beauty of being conceited. It makes you happy because you don't care what other people think. It's beautiful, really. So where's the logic? But also, how dare you? Thank you. So, you know, it's comments like that that are just plain rude, because, you know, it's one thing if someone's just like huffing and puffing and, you know, I mean, that's irritating too, but like I can survive that. But just straight up saying something like that to a stranger, why would you do that? That's honestly, no. And the last thing, that doesn't bother me as much because it's not rude in any way, it's just a little bit problematic during the study, which I will give as a disclaimer for people not to do if they ever want to participate in a study. However, it's not, in my opinion, rude in any way, shape or form, is saying or pretending that you have extreme knowledge about the topic of the study even when you don't. Okay, honey, let me tell you one thing. I'm glad you watched a YouTube video, I'm glad you read a blog, I'm glad you read that one book about the topic. But the honest to God truth is, unless you're a professional, so a professor or someone who's worked in the field for a longer period of time, chances are you don't know what the study is about, and chances are you have no idea what's going on. And I'm not saying this to be rude. The reason this is a problem is because people thinking this way affects the study in a big way. First of all, it makes it harder for us to do our job because every single time we have to give you the instruction, and it's extremely important because in our study you do 4 things, 4 times the same thing in a 2-week break. In those 2 weeks you can forget the instruction. So claiming you remember everything and you know this so you can do it by yourself, and not letting us give you the instruction may give us bad results at the end because memory is not perfect. I have a memory of a goldfish. You ask me to do something 2 minutes later, I forget. Okay, You're gonna forget, honey. You're gonna forget at some point. Just let us give you the instruction. And second of all, if you believe you know what the study is about, which we're not allowed to tell you, and if you think you know everything about the topic, you're going to go through the study and do the tests and everything in a way that you think you should be doing the tests, which is also going to give us bad results. You should do the test the way you should do the test, not the way you think you should do the test. So, although this isn't rude or mean in any way, don't do that because it fucks up our results. It's not good. So I hope you've learned something from this video. Maybe I've interested you in partaking in a study, and if I didn't and you're someone who does partake in studies, maybe now I've shown you that we are also human. Please don't treat us like garbage. Thank you. And I don't know. Let me know what you guys think if you want like more EEG biological kind of videos. I'd love to get into that, but I feel like most people here just for the goth side, and I do try to make as much goth videos as I can, but there's a very limited amount of topics you can talk about when it comes to the goth subculture. I think I will be making a part 2 of like best songs for baby beds or best bands for baby beds, but like I said, it's a very limited amount of topics in my opinion, and I don't want to keep on talking about the same thing. So I hope to see you next week. Give me your input in the comments, let me know how your day was. I hope you have a nice week, nice day, everything. I will see you soon. Bye bye.